about Amazing Concealer, it's got a huge variety of colours, 10 different colours. It's available exclusively at Marks and Spencer's. So we've ticked a lot of boxes here, but how do you really apply it to get a natural look and in a way that it's not going to settle in the lines and actually look worse than maybe the lines were?
So I think the first point is the colour choice, which we've covered off. And then it's really as with most makeup, it's about, I always say less is more. So you apply a small amount and then you build gradually. Now, there's lots of different thoughts on when you should apply your concealer. You can either do it prior to applying your foundation or you can do it afterwards. Myself personally, my under eye concealer I do prior to my foundation.
I always do.
And then any skin marks I would do afterwards.
Okay.
So we will do some close-ups for this so you can see it. The one thing to also say with the colours is I often with concealers, and certainly I've done it with this one, I actually have 2 colours in my bag. Because what I find is it's great then for seasonal change, or you might want to.
So you can blend them and adapt them to the time.
Absolutely. And the other thing as well is a little makeup artist tip is I often use one that's slightly lighter underneath my eye area, just to give that brightness. It doesn't give that pinky glow, that pinky reflect that we talked about before, but it gives that brightness. So I'm going to talk to you about application, then like I said, we'll do some close-ups. So I've actually got 2 of my shades actually on here. So I have this one which is medium beige, and then this I would use on the face, and what I do often is mix a tiny bit of the lighter one for under the eye. So I'm going to do that now, mix them together, like I said we'll show you some close-ups. And with a brush, and with this product, because it is quite a fine texture, it does have a lot of pigment, I would always try and if you can use a brush. Okay. And the big thing really with a product like this is use a synthetic brush. If you use a brush that has real hair in, what it does is it absorbs the moisture from the product.
Oh, okay.
So you need one with synthetic hair. And then what you need to do is you actually apply.
A bit like painting by numbers.
Yeah, and you kind of need to apply it quite wide. So you need to come down, because a lot of, if you only apply it on that little bit that's actually deeper set, what happens is that ends up really bright and then there's all of a sudden a line. Whereas if you actually take it...
So you're carrying it down to blend in with your foundation.
Yeah, and often as well, and for me this is the case, I actually have pigmentation here. So it kind of
blends in. So it's doing 2 jobs
at
once.
So,
like a multitasking product.
Brush it on. Don't be tempted to do this kind of windscreen wiper, because what you then do is you...
So you're really tapping it into the skin, aren't you?
Yeah, and then with my ring finger, I just want to kind of pat it in and pat and roll.
And that I find for me is when it doesn't settle in the lines, because you've kind of pressed it. Yeah. You've pressed it in, but it doesn't settle in the crease. Yeah. Does that make sense?
And also you're using such a fine amount that there doesn't have there's not a lot of product to be going to creases.
So we should put our eye gel, eye cream on a little bit before we do this. Yeah. So let that sink in.
Yeah. So that would be the under eye area.
Let's have a look at the difference. Yeah, it's quite a considerable difference.
And then the other thing that you can do, and I would use just the deeper one for this in my shade, and my shade is medium beige that I use on my face, and this is where you do the technique that they really talk about, which is the dot technique. So you dot and then you blend it and then you can repeat. So as I said, you can add more, which is easier rather than taking it away. So for this kind of application, you can see I have a little mark here. You actually just dot it on.
Yeah. And just press it into the skin. And
you press it in. So don't rub, because you're going to rub it off again, but dot it on and press it in. I can't talk and apply because I open my mouth.
You don't bite your tongue, do you?
No. So you dot and you press it in, and then if you want to,
it really is painting by numbers.
You can just do it.
It's really good.
The other areas you can do, and again, I would take a tiny bit of the little brighter one, is if you want to do down these lines, because anywhere that's dark on the face, if you add a little bit of lightness, it helps to get rid of those lines.
Everything else as well.
So any redness, if you had a lot of pigmentation, breakout on the chin, anything like that. Like I said, I would always apply, to cover that kind of thing, I would always apply after my foundation. If I'm doing under eyes, I do that before. So the key is, if you can, I would get 2 colours, so you can really custom blend it, and have a good light, and then small amount and build up as you need it.
That's perfect for travelling, these sizes, aren't they?
Yeah, really, really good. And I think, like we said in one of the other videos, the other thing that's great about this is it's water resistant. So if you are having a day out, you know, maybe you're on vacation or at the weekend, you don't wear so much makeup, but you do have something you really need to cover, you can pop this on and it will stay where it's put.
It's really good.
So super handy. Also really good for men as well. I think that's something else that we forget. You know, a lot of men
definitely
want to conceal darkness.
Around the eye area. Yeah.
So that's the application. So as I said, testers are readily available in the stores, so you can go down and have a look at the colours. But yeah, it's a product we're loving, certainly.
Certainly are. So that's Amazing Concealer, available from Marks and Spencer's.